Verses 32 to 37. The declaration which he heard of the covenant of God. v. 32. The voice of the Lord came to him, for faith comes by hearing, and this was it: I am the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and therefore I am the same that I was. The covenant God made with Abraham some ages ago was, I will be to thee a God all sufficient. Now, saith God, that covenant is still in full force, it is not cancelled nor forgotten, but I am, as I was, the God of Abraham, and now I will make it to appear so, for all the favors, all the honors God put upon Israel, were founded upon this covenant with Abraham, and flowed from it. I will be the same that I am. For if the death of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob cannot break the covenant relation between God and them, as by this it appears it cannot, then nothing else can, and then he will be a God to their souls, which are now separated from their bodies. Our Savior by this proves the future state. Mt 22:31, 32. Abraham is dead, and yet God is still his God, therefore Abraham is still alive. God never did that for him in this world, which would answer the true intent and full extent of that promise, that he would be the God of Abraham, and therefore it must be done for him in the other world. Now this is that life and immortality which are brought to light by the gospel, for the full conviction of the Sadducees, who denied it. Those therefore who stood up in defense of the gospel, and endeavored to propagate it, were so far from blaspheming Moses that they did the greatest honor imaginable to Moses, and that glorious discovery which God made of himself to him at the bush. To their seed, God, in declaring himself thus the God of their fathers, intimated his kindness to their seed, that they should be beloved for the fathers' sakes. Rom 11:28, do. 7:8. Now the preachers of the gospel preached up this covenant, the promise made of God unto the fathers, unto which promise those of the 12 tribes that did continue serving God hope to come. Ch 26:6, 7. And shall they, under color of supporting the holy place and the law, oppose the covenant which was made with Abraham and his seed, his spiritual seed, before the law was given, and long before the holy place was built? Since God's glory must be forever advanced, and our glorying forever silenced, God will have our salvation to be by promise, and not by the law. The Jews therefore who persecuted the Christians, under pretense that they blasphemed the law, did themselves blaspheme the promise, and forsook all their own mercies that were contained in it. The commission which God gave him to deliver Israel out of Egypt. The Jews set up Moses in competition with Christ, and accused Stephen as a blasphemer because he did not do so too. But Stephen here shows that Moses was an eminent type of Christ, as he was Israel's deliverer. When God had declared himself the God of Abraham, he proceeded to order Moses into a reverent posture: put off thy shoes from thy feet. Enter not upon sacred things with low, and cold, and common thoughts. Keep thy foot. Eccle 5:1. Be not hasty and rash in thy approaches to God, tread softly. To order Moses into a very eminent service. When he is ready to receive commands, he shall have commission. He is commissioned to demand leave from Pharaoh for Israel to go out of his land, and to enforce that demand. v. 34. The notice God took both of their sufferings and of their sense of their sufferings. I have seen their affliction, and have heard their groaning. God has a compassionate regard to the troubles of his church, and the groans of his persecuted people, and their deliverance takes rise from his pity. The determination he fixed to redeem them by the hand of Moses: I am come down to deliver them. It should seem, though God is present in all places, yet he uses that expression here of coming down to deliver them because that deliverance was typical of what Christ did, when, for us men, and for our salvation, he came down from heaven. He that ascended first descended. Moses is the man that must be employed. Come, and I will send thee into Egypt, and, if God send him, he will own him and give him success. His acting in pursuance of this commission, wherein he was a figure of the Messiah. And Stephen takes notice here again of the slights they had put upon him, the affronts they had given him, and their refusal to have him to reign over them, as tending very much to magnify his agency in their deliverance. God put honor upon him whom they put contempt upon. v. This Moses whom they refused, whose kind offers and good offices they rejected with scorn, saying, Who made thee a ruler and a judge? Thou takest too much upon thee, thou son of Levi. Number 16:3. This same Moses did God send to be a ruler, and a deliverer, by the hand of the angel which appeared to him in the bush. It may be understood either that God sent to him by the hand of the angel going along with him he became a complete deliverer. Now, by this example, Stephen would intimate to the council that this Jesus whom they now refused, as their fathers did Moses, saying, Who made thee a prophet and a king? Who gave thee this authority? Even this same has God advanced to be a prince and a savior, a ruler and a deliverer, as the apostles had told them a while ago, ch. 5:30-31, that the stone which the builders refused was become the headstone in the corner, ch. 4:11. God showed favor to them by him, and he was very forward to serve them, though they had thrust him away. God might justly have refused them his service, and he might justly have declined it, but it is all forgotten, they are not so much as upbraided with it. v. 36. He brought them out, notwithstanding, after he had shown wonders and signs in the land of Egypt, which were afterwards continued for the completing of their deliverance, according as the case called for them, in the Red Sea and in the wilderness 40 years. So far is he from blaspheming Moses that he admires him as a glorious instrument in the hand of God for the forming of the Old Testament Church. But it does not at all derogate from his just honor to say that he was but an instrument, and that he is outshone by this Jesus, whom he encourages these Jews yet to close with, and to come into his interest, not fearing but that then they should be received into his favor, and receive benefit by him, as the people of Israel were delivered by Moses, though they had once refused him. His prophecy of Christ and his grace, v. 37. He not only was a type of Christ, many were so that perhaps had not an actual foresight of his day, but Moses spoke of him, v. 37. This is that Moses who said unto the children of Israel, A prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren. This is spoken of as one of the greatest honors God put upon him, nay, as that which exceeded all the rest, that by him he gave notice to the children of Israel of the great prophet that should come into the world, raised their expectation of him, and required them to receive him. When his bringing them out of Egypt is spoken of, it is with an emphasis of honor. This is that Moses, ex 6:26. And so it is here, this is that Moses. Now this is very full to Stephen's purpose, in asserting that Jesus should change the customs of the ceremonial law. He was so far from blaspheming Moses that really he did him the greatest honor imaginable, by showing how the prophecy of Moses was accomplished, which was so clear, that, as Christ told them himself, if they had believed Moses, they would have believed him, Jn 5:46. Moses, in God's name, told them that, in the fullness of time, they should have a prophet raised up among them, one of their own nation, that should be like unto him, Do 18:15, 18, a ruler and a deliverer, a judge and a lawgiver, like him, who should therefore have authority to change the customs that he had delivered, and to bring in a better hope, as the mediator of a better testament. He charged them to hear that prophet, to receive his dictates, to admit the change he would make in their customs, and to submit to him in everything, and this will be the greatest honor you can do to Moses and to his law, who said, Hear you him, and came to be a witness to the repetition of this charge by a voice from heaven, at the transfiguration of Christ, and by his silence gave consent to it, Mt 17:5.